Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the National Press Club, the place where news happens. I'm Kerry O'Reilly, co-vice chair of the Press Club's Events Committee, and I'm also a senior managing editor at Sightline Media Group, publisher of Defense News and Military Times. We're delighted today to welcome India's main opposition leader, Rahul Gandhi, who heads the Indian National Congress Party. In March, a court in India's Gujarat state sentenced Mr. Gandhi to 2 years in prison for defaming Prime Minister Narendra Modi. While he was granted bail and remains free on appeal, India's parliament expelled him from the legislature where he had served for 19 years. The defamation case stemmed from a 2019 campaign speech in which Mr. Gandhi referenced the Prime Minister's surname, Modi, in connection with two high-profile criminals with the same last name. How come all these thieves have Modi as their common name? He asked. A legislator from the Prime Minister's party, also with the last name Modi, sued. The Gandhi family name is synonymous with a political dynasty that has produced 3 prime ministers so far. Rahul Gandhi is the son and grandson and great-grandson of legendary politicians. Both his father, Rajiv Gandhi, and his grandmother, Indira Gandhi, were assassinated. Their party, the Indian National Congress, ruled India for most of the years since the country's independence. But the once unshakable Gandhi dynasty may have met its match in Mr. Modi, who crushed the traditional ruling party in a 2019 landslide. Mr. Gandhi will challenge Mr. Modi again when elections are held in 2024. Many people in India and around the world have voiced concern about Mr. Modi's consolidation of power in the world's largest democracy. Mr. Gandhi has emerged as one of Mr. Modi's fiercest critics, accusing him of using the power of his government to silence opposition candidates, journalists, and organizations such as Amnesty International and Oxfam. Yet Prime Minister Modi appears poised to win a 3rd term. Morning Consult's global leader approval rating tracker ranks Mr. Modi as the world's most popular leader. Data collected the week of May 17th shows him with a 77% approval rating. By comparison, President Joe Biden clocks in at 41%. Today, we welcome the opportunity to hear from Mr. Gandhi's perspectives on the state of India's democracy. Please join me in giving a warm National Press Club welcome to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Do you want to make some remarks, or we'll just go right into questions?
Yeah, we can. Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Certainly.
I believe my great-grandfather came here, and my grandmother came here, my father came here. So it's an honor for me, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Okay. Let me just remind everyone that I'm happy to take your questions, but please write them on the cards provided and hand them before. Shouted questions will not be picked up by our microphones, and if you disturb this proceeding, we will be escorted out. So just want to make that clear. Okay, so since Mr. Modi has come to power, India's economy has improved, according to independent economic assessments. What's your take on the current government's economic policies? Have they improved the country's position?
What we see on the ground is massive unemployment and dramatic increase in prices. And this is one of the reasons we won the Karnataka election, was that there was a feeling in India that there is a set of people who have a huge amount of wealth, and then there's a large mass of Indian people who are poor and struggling. Huge income disparities and unemployment. I think it's a 40-year high for unemployment. So to say that the economy is doing well, I don't quite agree with it.
And are there particular policies that are cause for concern or that should be changed?
I think the central difference between how we see it and how the BJP sees it is we believe in decentralization of power. We believe in supporting the small and medium industries, and we believe that they are the engine of growth in India. And they tend to concentrate power and wealth in few limited people. So that's, I would say, broadly, that's the difference in the economic perspective.
Okay. If your party were to return to power, what changes would it seek to implement to ensure the rights of minorities in India?
I mean, India has a very robust system already in place. That system has been weakened, right? But it's not that that system doesn't exist. If the conversation, the democratic conversation is allowed to be fostered, then these issues will settle themselves.
So, so the rule of law is in place. It just perhaps isn't
No,
followed
it's not.
as it could.
It's you. You have to have an independent set of institutions that are not pressurized and controlled, and that's been the norm in India. This is an aberration. What is taking place? What is taking place in India? So, from our perspective, the the foundations of democracy in India are very strong. And the protections exist, but they're being sort of disturbed.
And you see that if Congress came to power, they could quickly be restored.
Quickly, I don't know, but the Congress Party is the institution that conceptualized them in the first place, right? So we don't view them as our institutions. We view them as institutions of the state, and so we ensured that there was independence and neutrality in these institutions. And it's not difficult to do if that's what you're trying to do.
Let me ask you about, well, again, welcome to the Press Club, and let me ask you about press freedom, very important issue for us all. I should, full disclosure, my colleague, Vivek Raghuvanshi, was arrested several weeks ago and charged with, and accused of espionage. He's an Indian citizen. And what does that, he's been working for my company for more than 30 years and as a journalist. And I wanted to ask you what that says about the state of press freedom in India when someone, can be just accused of, even after, if it was someone with such a reputation can be accused in such a cavalier manner.
No, I think the fact that there is a weakening of press freedoms, this is not hidden. I mean, everybody knows it. It's apparent in India. The rest of the world can see it. And I think press freedom is very, very critical for a democracy. I mean, one should be open to criticism, and one should listen to criticism. I mean, that's the feedback loop that builds democracies. And definitely, there is a weakening of press freedom. I mean, and it's not just press freedom; it's on multiple axes. On multiple axes, there is a clampdown on the institutional framework that allowed India to talk, that allowed the Indian people to negotiate. I view India as a negotiation between its people, between different languages, different cultures, different histories. And the architecture that Mahatma Gandhi set up was to allow that negotiation to be carried out fairly and freely. And that structure that allows the negotiation between India's people is coming under pressure. I mean, this is a question you should ask Mr. Modi. So more apt.
Okay.
I don't know how you'll get there.
As soon as we get him here.
I don't know how you'll get there, but yeah, I think it would be better question directed at him.
Okay. What are your concerns with regard to the use of the citizenship law to expel Muslim Indians who have lived in India for generations? How would you handle things differently?
I think all Indian people, right, have a right to expression. All Indian people have a right to religious freedom. All Indian communities should feel free to express themselves. So I don't differentiate between any community, any caste. I think India, as I mentioned just now, is a conversation, and the freer and more open that conversation, the more powerful India becomes.
Okay. You have said that Modi's BJP engages in the politics of hatred and violence. Can you explain what you mean by this?
I mean, it's explained in the sentence, right? They sort of generate a certain amount of hatred in society. They polarize society, and they're not inclusive. They don't embrace everybody, and they divide society. That's
That's
yeah, and that's damaging in my view to India, because India has always had a tradition uh, of conversation, of openness. All our great leaders, spiritual, political, uh, Mahatma Gandhi, Buddha, all of them promoted harmony, promoted peace, promoted conversation. So it's in our culture, it's in our history to sort of bring people together and and have these dialogues. Um, so that's I think it's a difference in ideology between us and the BJP. We feel uh, India should be allowed to express itself, and we feel that political leaders should be comfortable in sort of being questioned, uh, and should learn from that question.